Oh, what are you making?
Avocado toast.
Okay, perfect. And to celebrate the creation of avocado toast, I went to go see Us, and the movie was just so amazing. I was so inspired. I wrote an actual little brief summation for the beginning of the film. I'm gonna read it now. Hopefully, I can actually speak. Jordan Peele's Us, a movie created for the sole purpose of generating Buzzfeed hidden symbolism articles and YouTube ending explained videos. Us follows the time warping life of our main character, Wife. While Wife was a child, she inexplicably walks off and enters a racist house of mirrors, upon which she comes in contact with her doppelganger. Cut. The film continues in the present day, following the life of Wife proper. Wife has two kids who were characterized enough to avoid death, but not really matter in the film. Who cares? One of them likes to run, the other one likes tricks, whatever the fuck that means. They exist mostly just to motivate the wife to do dumb things over and over again in the film, abandoning the group to go off on her own and risk her life for no reason. But oh, it's always for the sake of her children, which is nothing is left to say much about the husband, who the audience is told is a prince, but the years of slothful neglect and indulgent purchases clearly have stressed the wife out all of her patience and pittance. This film, I told you when I first got back that I called the twist within like 5 minutes, right?
Yep.
So this is obviously spoilers, but if you've seen the trailer and then you watch the film, you already know the big twist because the twist was in the trailer. So there's a scene in the trailer where there's two little black girls. They're in a dark area, and one of the girls, it's like snap cut, and her hands are at her side, and then her hands are around the other girl's neck. That scene where the little girl puts her hands around the other little girl's neck, that's the scene, that's the revelation scene at the end of the film. They put the big twist revelation revealing scene that happens at the end of the film in the last 30 seconds, they put that in the trailer. Why? Because they think the audience is stupid. Yeah, like I'm fucking shocked. I'm blown away. I couldn't believe it. This film is a great example of great, they reincorporate everything that is characterized of the characters for the most part. I mean, the daughter's stick is she runs, but she wants to drive, but she doesn't really use wanting to drive to do any smart driving things. And there's just like it's exactly like Get Out except worse. Like when you watch the film, and if you're paying half attention and you're not drunk, you can clearly clue into the big twist that the wife, I don't even know her name. I don't remember any, I don't think any of the characters have names, but the wife's character is the girl from like the bad realm or whatever the fuck it is. So the big premise is that there's a bunch of humans living underground in like random coal mines and bunkers that are like these communities. And the explanation in the film, which doesn't make any fucking sense actually in hindsight now, because the explanation of why the place exists comes from the girl who was brought there, the little girl who was brought there, the fake wife basically. So how did she, I don't fucking, who cares? This movie's got a lot of problems, but it doesn't have any script problems. This is a great example of an A plus script. You got great reincorporation of materials. You have a little black kid. He's got like a little like trick thing in his finger, and he does it, and it never works. But then him and his clone are like in the closet, and they're like doing little things, and then the trick thing works, and he's able to like lock the closet. And earlier in the film, we have it established that like he was in the closet. He put a little train there, and then the daughter kicked it out. Then later on in the film, he traps his clone in the closet, and he kicks out the little train thing so the kid can't get out. Like, it does great reincorporation. It has a good soundtracks. The sound is good. I thought it was fucking annoying, if I'm being honest. It was like horror movie, like, oh, here's the scary moment and loud noises. Whoop, see fucking do, and of course loud fucking shrieking strings with played with like a fucking chef's knife or something. It was a little ridiculous. But the plot was just like, who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? Like, none of our characters have any motivation. they're going on a vacation, but they don't even really seem like they care that much. The wife is very absent, which is part of the twist, because she's there's a lot of teasing moments throughout the film that make you scratch your monkey skull when you're trying to figure out what's wrong with the wife, because clearly she is a little bit inhuman. She doesn't seem to behave properly. And it's because that she's actually like an underground cave dweller lady who apparently has no soul, as we're told in the film. But that information is suspect given that it comes from a character who actually is the one that has the soul. So, yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But presumably in the film, there's just like a duplicate of like every American underground in these bunkers, and they live down there, and they have no souls, and they eat rabbits, and they just like do similar things that regular humans do above ground. And we see this in the film when the little girl's walking through the circus or whatever the hell it is on the pier, and the people around her clone in the underground facility are like mimicking what the humans above ground are doing. So they basically leave these like horrible duplicate lives. But who cares? What's the point? I mean, I don't even care about where did they come from, if it was some government experiment or whatever. Like, you can either do hard explanation of like some malicious intent, or you do symbolic, like deeper meaning kind of thing. This movie opted to do fucking neither. Like, what's the symbolism? You can't really say it's a kind of like maybe there is. I'm sure there's a million BuzzFeed articles you can read about the deeper symbolism if you really want that shit. I'm not even gonna waste my time. There seems like there could be a point, but it's not fucking cohesive. Like, you have to like really go through and pick it apart and everything like that, and it's like, fuck off, Just there's no suspense when you know the main character is a fucking outworlder or whatever the hell she is, and the dad is like about as effectual as a bag of potato chips. The acting is good though, but my god, the plot was, I don't know. Maybe I should try to go through the plot. Do you want to listen to the plot?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we start. It's a very cold open film. We have no idea what the fuck's going on in the beginning of this film. And we have little black girl from the trailer, and we have two parents. First thing we notice, the parents are pretty like, they seem like neither of them really want to pay attention to the daughter. But like they're not like negligent, but they're clearly not the parents from the trailer. So I'm like, what's going on? And then some stupid shit happens. Dad wants to play whack-a-mole, and the wife is like, can you watch your daughter? And it's like, no, you dumb bitch, he's playing whack-a-mole. Like, you fucking stupid. And then she's like, and she says, oh, come to the bathroom with me. But the daughter doesn't want to go to the bathroom for no reason. Like, whatever. I don't know. She's a kid. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the daughter at this point just like walks off. She walks by some weird dudes. She walks by a bunch of shit that is just going to be reincorporated in the film later. So I hope you're paying attention. And then she goes to a racist house of mirrors in which she runs to the exit. But of course, she runs into a mirror, which made everybody in the audience laugh. And then she comes upon the behind of another person who's standing there, presumably knowing. This person knows. And we get to the point where the other person that she's looking at turns around, and it's her. And we see our initial little black girl's reaction is shock. Her eyes go wide. And then we cut to present day, and we're following wife character. And they're going to like a cottage with her husband and daughter and son. And son is like on the spectrum. He's kind of autistic. I feel like maybe maybe there's like another twist. I think maybe the son is actually a person in this underground facility. But you don't know that yet. You haven't seen the film. Imagine you don't even know the twist. You didn't pay attention to the trailer. You're like a fucking 85 IQ mouth-breathing retard. So you're just like, wow, what was up with that intro? What's going on? So you're following wife and husband, and you clearly, wife, like, is just the most boring person ever. She doesn't want to go to the beach, but she also, like, doesn't want to snog or do anything, and she's just like really fucking like boring as sin. And this is where I started like, oh, she's been replaced because there's no way anybody this boring could be like this. And in that meantime, there's like some flashbacks to wife post leaving the underground facility. And she's basically like spying on her parents who are in therapy. And the therapist is like, well, your daughter's probably got some PTSD. And they're like, what? She was only gone for 15 minutes. And they're like, oh, well, it could be pretty traumatizing, you know? And like, because they're trying to rationalize, like, oh, I just want my daughter back. And it's like, oh, you just want your daughter back. And your daughter just happened to run into a doppelganger. Like, you didn't need to save this for the big twist at the end of the film, you know? Like, you want your daughter back. Your daughter ran into a doppelganger in a house of mirrors. We cut before we see what happens. Any fucking idiot can figure out that obviously she was replaced. Like, that's the big... Oh, God. I'm never going to stop complaining about the big twist because it was so obvious. At least in Get Out, it was smart, and I felt smart for calling it. In this movie, I feel dumb for noticing it. Like, I feel like I was insulted. That at the end of the movie, that was it. I should mention... Before anything, there is an advertisement on TV for Hands Around America, some 86 event to promote something stupid. I don't fucking know. Whatever. Hands Across America, some dumb event. It's important later. Anyway, we go to the beach and we just are introduced to some characters who are all terrible and you know they're going to die because they're terrible. It's Tim Heidecker. And his daughters who are all just dumb whores. But then, oh no, I think the main character's name was Jamie? It was Jay something. Anyway, he like walks off and you think, oh no, he's walked to the House of Mirrors. He's gonna see, you know, racist Native American characters. Instead, he like goes to the bathroom and then looks at a man with like a bloody hand. And then wife comes by and is like, no, don't leave. Oh my God. It's like she seems to really care about the son. I wouldn't say any more so than the daughter, but we definitely see her show a greater concern for the son. So maybe that's like the big twist. Maybe the son really is also from the underground layer. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. The ending of the film leaves that to be questioned. We'll get to that. Anyway, we go back to the house, and this is where the film just like drops all pretense of like establishing anything interesting. Where like, have you seen the trailer? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, anyway, if you've seen the trailer, this is where the movie just starts. And within like 25 minutes, then the doppelgangers just show up outside. And it's actually a lot scarier in the trailer because it's paced well. In the movie, it's like very long and protracted, which I'm fine with, but the characters like just they have the reactions run the gambit, which is realistic. Like the acting is really great, but it's just like so fucking convenient. Like the dad goes out there and then he like goes out there again and then he gets a baseball bat and then like they all just like run around and like the other dad, the doppelganger dad, like walks up to him and then he goes inside and then he's like trying to hold the door shut and then doppelganger dad like rips the bat away and like breaks his knee or something right then and there. And then it becomes this kind of like, oh no moment. Like we've lost like some protection and like doppelganger dad's in the house and like they're all in like the living room. And this is where the movie gets really fucking stupid. So like they're sitting across from each other and the doppelganger mom starts talking and they needed to fucking focus test this voice. Oh God. Her voice made the audience laugh.
Oh gosh.
Like, it's supposed to be scary. I was never scared at any point in this film. The film's not fucking scary. Now, if you're frightened by flashing images, if you're frightened by loud, shrieking fucking string noises cut with fucking knives, then you'll be scared. If you have any balls at all, the film is not scary. And it wasted its time trying to be scary is the problem. Because the plot isn't about the horror. It's about the unnerving nature of having some kind of clone or something like that maybe lived a life like you. But the problem is that we don't establish that reality until so fucking late that it's over. So sometime in between what I've just said, there's another scene where we see a wall of rabbits and we see a classroom. That's important later because that classroom we see, that's the underground facility. But we just see it to like tease the idea of it. So anyway, the mom says basically her life story, the doppelganger mom, where she's like, you in the real world, the voice I'm doing sounds dumb. This is how she talked. She talked like the fucking stupid. She's like, well, you got to marry a prince, but they imply that the guy that she's with, they're only together because those two people came together in the above world. So like she basically just like has sex and has kids, and they don't bother to explain how the fuck that happened. It just happens. But like when somebody's made, it's presumably they were told, figured out how to make like a duplicate of a person, but they couldn't duplicate the soul or something or whatever, and that's really all we're given. But the doppelganger mom has real mom handcuff herself to the table for some reason, and then dad and other dad like go out to the boat, like whatever. He like drags him out there, and it's like, oh no, dad's getting his ass kicked. And then the daughter like runs away, and the doppelganger mom sends like her murder daughter to go murder the run daughter, and then the two kids go out to play, and it's just like it's part scary, part like what? Like the two little boys just go into the closet and then do that thing that I explained earlier where he does the trick and he tricks them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then the mom is just there, but then the doppelganger mom leaves because the one kid gets tricked and she's like wants to get him out of the closet. So then we're stuck with real mom, and this is the first part of the film where like you literally take your hand out of your fucking ass and you start scratching your monkey skull because the mom is trying to reach for a fire stick that you use to put in like the fireplace.
Oh yeah.
And maybe I'm stupid, but it's a table. She's handcuffed to the table. There's one common feature most furniture has, in that you can move them.
Yeah.
In the movie, we are presumed it's a wooden table. The table is like bolted to the fucking ground, presumably. So she has to like use her foot to get the iron rod thingy and then break the wood off the table. Why couldn't she just pull the table over, grab it, and then break? I don't fucking know. To create tension, I don't know. That's the part where they just clearly fucked up. Or maybe I'm retarded. Maybe it was bolted to the ground and they established that. Whatever. Anyway, then we have mom and son get reunited while the bad mom and bad son try to beat him up, and some dumb shit happens. The daughter has a little kerfluffle outside, but then evil daughter kills some random dude. And then the dad fights bad dad, but then he got a boat, and then he uses the boat to kill him. All of that stuff is reincorporated well. They did a great job with the script. They set up things in the script, and then they pay them off. But who gives a fuck? Like, who are these characters? Like, I don't care I care more about the underground people than I do about the live people. I mean, sure, they don't have any personality, but at least they're like traumatic figures. If anything, they deserve to kill them because like they've been living such horrible lives. Mm-hmm. It's a film that almost promotes some kind of like working class revolution because they're the ones who slave away underground, but not really for a purpose, so that people above ground can like live out some, I don't know, it's weird. The fucking go read a Buzzfeed article if you care about that shit. I'm not interested in the symbolism of this film. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't exist. But anyway, the family gets back together, and then they go to that. Well, then we're shown Tim Heidecker and his family, and they just get blown away instantly. Like their clones just kill all of them. So then we set up the precedent that it's not just the black family that has clones. It's the Tim Heidecker and the rich white people. Their family, they got clones too. Once again, there's some script reincorporation with a generator. Blah blah blah. Who gives a fuck? Anyway, one thing that's important though is that it now explains why the cops aren't helping anybody. Because initially we're like, oh, 14 minutes, the cops will be here. So we kind of have this ticking timetable in our head of like, oh, the cops will show up. Cops never show up. Well, why don't they show up? Because it's happening everywhere. It's not just this one family. And also, the line that the black family uses when they say, "Oh, who are you?" You know, the doppelgangers. They're like, "We're Americans." Like, it sounded like Bane talking. I felt like I was fucking watching The Dark Knight or whatever. Like, it was embarrassing. Okay. This is America. Childish Gambino. Like, guns in my area. Is that gonna start playing? Like, what the fuck do you mean? Who gives a shit? Like, I don't know. It's pretty weird. I mean, whatever. It's fucking go read your dumb BuzzFeed articles if you care about that. What even happened? So they get in. They take out the white family's doppelgangers, and then the wife. They need the keys for the car, so the wife like runs off on her own for like the 15th fucking time, and she runs into one of the daughters and beats them up. Blah blah blah. Who cares? And then they're driving away and they run into the daughter and they kill the daughter doppelganger. And then now this is where the film just kind of like, I don't know what the fuck happened. They like go down to the dock shore. Why? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I am in shock. But they go down there and there's a car on fire, and then this is the other scene from the trailer where they're all in the car and the mom's like, "You guys stay here, I'm gonna handle this." And she goes out there and she's like talking to the son, the doppelganger son, and she tries to talk to him, and it seems a little weird. It's like this mom is a little bit too compassionate to somebody who's like trying to kill them, right? And presumably she wouldn't have ever met the son because the son would have been born with half a soul, I guess, according to the film, because the son would have been born to the above world mom, who was then taken to the below world. But anyway, she shows a little bit of humanity to the son, and she shows a little bit of humanity to the daughter. When the daughter is like flung into a tree, the doppelganger daughter, she goes out there and she talks to her, and she talks to her like in broken like grunts. And all the different like doppelgangers, they don't really have language. They grunt, except for the doppelganger mom. She talks, and the reason is because she lived in the above world long enough to develop language, whereas the other ones down there never learned to speak, presumably. So that's to explain why the doppelganger mom can speak. The talking to the son doesn't work. The son has a plan to like blow up the car. The real son figures it out, and he's like, "It's a trick. We got to get out of the vehicle." And then the real son then like mind links with doppelganger son and T-poses and makes him walk backwards into the fire to avoid their car getting blown up. But while he's T-posing, doppelganger mom shows up and steals real son. And where does she run off? I don't know. And then dad and daughter are completely fucking ineffectual and worthless. Even though daughter is established as being a runner, she does abso-fucking-lutely nothing to help. And then mom just goes running off because she is gonna save the day. She's the main character. So she runs off. And then she goes into the House of Mirrors. And this part takes fucking forever to get her down into the facility. And then she runs into doppelganger mom, and doppelganger mom basically explains the shit that I explained to you, where like there's a bunch of clones and something or whatever, and they're you guys are living too good up there. We're gonna, we deserve to be happy too, blah blah blah. So we're gonna make a ring around the world or whatever. I don't know. We need to know, let people know that we exist. And then there's like a very protracted battle between the two moms, where you intercut scenes of young mom dancing, and apparently the young mom dancing was like what bridged the gap of awareness between the two duplicates, is that like they shared some connection, presumably. And I don't really get the symbolism there. I don't give a fuck. So the two moms are like fighting like idiots, and then eventually the real mom, as we know her, kills doppelganger mom, and that's when she spits out that line about the souls and whatever. And then she finds the son. The son is rightfully fucking terrified of the mom, and the mom basically has to force the son to like be like to go with her, because after she kills doppelganger mom, she like makes some weird fucking like zombie fucking roll call noises. It was fucking weird. And then we're all in an ambulance. Presumably they're driving with no destination except maybe Mexico, because that's said earlier in the film. And mom and son are next to each other in the ambulance, which isn't well established. I thought the son was actually in the back, but whatever. Or maybe it is. I just didn't notice. And they're looking at each other, and then this is where we get the flashback, where what happened in the haunted house, House of Mirrors, in 86 or 83 or whatever, is that the little girl who was the doppelganger choked out and dragged real little girl into the basement and locked her up down there. And then so the mom that we see that was wearing the red jumpsuit, she was actually the mom from the above world that actually had a soul. She could actually speak, and she, I guess, concocted this whole strategy of like rising up, killing all their doppelgangers, and then making a Hands Across America to like show that they existed. We don't know how they got duplicated. We don't know if it was some government plot. We don't know if it's like just some symbolic thing. It doesn't do either of them any justice, I don't think. And so at the end of the film, we know that the mom that we see is the bad mom. And there's evidence all throughout the film. You know, as I said, she shows sympathy to the daughter and the son because she was one of them. She speaks like them at times. She doesn't talk. Like, there's a line where she's like, oh, I don't really talk. Like, she says to Tim Heidecker's wife in the film. Like, there's just many lines in the film that solidify her being the underground wife before the twist even happens. Not even including the trailer, which spoils it anyway. And then that's it. That's the end of the film. There's no, like, explanation of, like, what the fuck's going on. Like, as I said, there's no symbolic interpretation, and there's no, like, government conspiracy, like, scientific explanation. It's just, oh, well, by the way, at the beginning of the film, before the title crawl, there's a bunch of underground facilities all across America that are unused. I don't know, pretty interesting, you know, like, oh, okay, who gives a shit? Like, I don't even care where these people came from. I just want a cohesive story. And like, I don't care if the people survived or not. Like, I think it would have been better if they won and the bad guys, the quote bad guys, won in the end. And then they got to like make their Hands Across America, and then you see some kind of reaction to that. But we don't even see the societal reaction. We see nothing. We're just kept so in the dark that like you don't know. Except for the twist, which is like, I mean, if you have like above 85 IQ, you should have called it. Like, if you've seen the trailer and you watch the movie and you don't get the twist within 5 seconds of it happening, I feel bad for you, son. You weren't paying attention. Honestly, I think the movie's a fucking like it does so much bad. I think it deserves a fucking like a 4 out of 10. Like, the cinematography is fine, the acting is fucking great, the score is great, the soundtrack is great, but the plot is fucking terrible and the twist is horrible. Like, when you're waiting around for one part of the film to redeem it, and the one part of the film that you're waiting around for, you already called within the first, as soon as it happened, as soon as the establishing moment happened for that twist, there's nothing to wait for. You're waiting for Godot. That's it. Fuck it.